Even though Caitlin Clark didn't ask to be the WNBA's face, she is already there. Whether the league is ready or not, and as the season draws near, every decision she makes will be closely watched by teammates, supporters, and detractors. The WNBA has never seen a player with this much market power, although she is not someone who could change the media landscape with a single broadcast deal or ruin Vegas. Her actions on the court are not the only things she is doing. She is also symbolizing a change, a disruption, and a future that differs from the past. However, with all that power comes pressure, and players from previous generations helped to build the league through perseverance, unity, and struggle. For them, seeing a rookie rise so quickly with the full support of ESPN and corporate America feels like a slap in the face. It's as if the rules changed overnight and no one informed them. As a result, the backlash isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she did. They didn't have primetime games or billion-dollar networks behind them. They carved out space where none existed. Signifies that she is no longer just a player, but a turning point. But even during the storm, Clark has maintained her unusual composure. When race is brought up, she doesn't back down. Instead, she confronts it. However, as a white girl from the middle of America, she represented a lot to many people. Regardless of whether that is really whether she is prescribed to or not, we can all agree that she is a dynamic basketball player and a force on the court and in the marketing center. When trolls try to embarrass her, she remains silent and lets the facts speak for themselves. This type of restraint is difficult, especially when the cameras are rolling. The league is changing. Fans are tuning in, sponsors are calling. Ratings are rising. And behind it all is one young woman who, at the age of 23, has somehow become the most talked about person. Clark's ability to rise above the noise may be her greatest weapon. And it's what keeps her at the forefront of every conversation, whether people like it or not. The twist is that the more successful Caitlin Clark becomes, the more the league will be held accountable for the decisions it makes regarding who gets paid, who gets promoted, who gets protected, and who gets left behind. Additionally, the Fever are now favored by better teams to make a deep playoff run. With ESPN providing her with the platform, and the league's future is at stake. Music, Gary K. Dixon, and Caitlin Clark are under the umbrellas today. The question is not whether she can handle the pressure any longer, but rather whether the WNBA can accept her because Caitlin Clark has already altered the game. And there is no going back now. Thank you for bringing me here. I've heard that this is your first time at Augusta National, so tell me about your first impressions. Oh my goodness, this is a place that is on everyone's bucket list. It was at the top of mine. Caitlin Clark is everywhere, but not everyone is happy about it. She's making ESPN set records for preseason coverage. And bettors are supporting her fashion choices, and her Indiana Fever to win it all are garnering attention. But something darker is happening behind the scenes. WNBA champions are speaking out, WNBA players are becoming aloof, and now she must defend herself. Why is Caitlin Clark facing backlash after changing the game? How did a girl get expelled from school for being too good? Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA is evident as she begins her second season with the Indiana Fever. And the talk about her keeps getting stronger. She has become one of the most controversial figures in basketball. And what is ESPN actually planning with her rise? This isn't just hype, though. The pressure politics and power plays of the WNBA exposed, the Fever have experienced a notable increase in betting interest, which reflects the high expectations placed on Clark and her teammates. Clark's presence has also resulted in unprecedented media coverage, and ESPN is scheduled to broadcast the Fever's preseason game against Brazil's national team. The Fever's victory in the WNBA Finals is a testament to Clark's influence on the team's prospects. According to ESPN, two-time NBA champion, Michael Thompson recently asserted that some WNBA players hold grudges against Clark for 4 reasons, including her race. This decision, which marks the first time a WNBA preseason game will be nationally televised, highlights the Caitlin Clark effect and her capacity to attract national attention to the league. I don't like Caitlin Clark. You know, I've been following her career since she was a sophomore at Iowa, and I've noticed how different she is from Steve and Curry. Thompson compared Clark to Curry because of her fame, her style of play, and the media attention she receives. He noted that her flair and long-range shooting have changed the game. But she has also drawn criticism from peers. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, Clark acknowledged the difficulties of making the switch from college to professional, basketball, and talked about the increased physicality and faster pace of her play. Despite the attention, Clark remained focused on her game and played the game like Steph Curry, something we had never seen a woman do before. What was your initial reaction to your first game in the W? I thought it was physical, but obviously, it wasn't the best start in the first half for me, getting into foul trouble, and then you had to sit on the bench. The WNBA's tempo highlights her dedication to changing and improving Caitlin. We didn't play well, but we had cut it to 6 in the third quarter, so I think that's a plus. You look at it like we didn't play a good game, but we were right there at the end of the game. Bench and try to get back into the game and get into a little bit of a flow. But obviously, too many turnovers, that's not going to get the job done. But I think there are just a lot of things to learn from, moments, and then it kind of slipped away from us at the end of the third and fourth quarters. We didn't have the best start, so I believe there is just a lot to learn from. As we mentioned in the locker room before our game on Thursday, you must take what you can from it, move on, and be prepared to go. In an open discussion with David Letterman, she also addressed issues of privilege and race in the league. She expressed gratitude for the Black women who founded the WNBA and acknowledged her privilege as a white athlete. Clark underlined the significance of acknowledging and honoring those contributions as the Fever get ready for the new season. After capturing the attention of the sports world with her on-court exploits, Caitlin Clark is more than just a basketball player. She dominates headlines, and not all of them are about the game. All eyes will be on Clark to see how she continues to shape the league's narrative. Her influence goes beyond the court, challenging norms and igniting conversations that resonate. Throughout the sports world, Clark's skills made her a media magnet. But one of the more surprising headlines came from the Masters, not the court. Yes, pictures of Clark at the Augusta Golf Tournament in a sleek black outfit went viral, with men's journals praising her for breaking into a traditionally male-dominated field while others accused her of being attention-seeking. The line between athlete and celebrity continues to blur for Clark, as it appears that even his wardrobe choices are now subject to public debate. However, what's more revealing is what goes on behind the scenes in the WNBA. As reported by TalkSport, two-time NBA champion Michael Thompson stated that Clark is disliked by some WNBA players. And he listed 4 reasons for this now that she's in the WNBA. I tell you that she needs a Jeep endorsement commercial because Jeep is an acronym that I've come up with of the way she's been treated and not welcomed into the WNBA. JEP stands for jealousy, envy, egos, and resentment over the media's obsession with her over her fame, racial tension, and high-profile endorsements. Although Clark maintains her professionalism in public, many people think she faces more opposition behind closed doors. Pettiness Thompson stated that she's essentially the female Steph Curry, which some people find difficult to believe. She played the game like Steph Curry, and we had never seen a woman play like that before. When Clark appeared on My Next Guest, needs no introduction with David Letterman, she addressed the racial dynamics in the WNBA head-on, saying, "Black women built this league, they deserve all the credit." Although the tension hasn't stopped her from producing on the court, it has caused a rift within the league, as I've stated. I feel like I've earned every single thing that has happened to me throughout my career. But I also grew up as a fan of this league from a very young age. My favorite player was Maya Moore, so I know what this league was about. Clark made it clear that she doesn't take her platform for granted and wants to use her voice responsibly in the WNBA. Social media recently erupted when a false rumor circulated that Clark was purchasing the Salisbury House and Gardens in Des Moines. As I mentioned earlier, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there have been many incredible Black women in this league, and I think it's very important to keep encouraging them. The Des Moines Register had to intervene to clarify that the report was entirely false, but it wasn't an isolated event. Another widely shared rumor, this time from Facebook, claimed that Clark was covertly purchasing the historic mansion for his own use. Verified that there was no truth to, though Caitlin Clark never seemed shaken in public. You have to wonder what this level of constant attention really feels like behind the scenes. These kinds of false headlines either demonstrate how extreme the public obsession with Clark has become, whether it's golf photos, real estate rumors, or race-based criticism. Powering through the chaos, or is it beginning to wear her down? Regardless of whether it's earned praise or unfair backlash, one thing is certain: no player in the WNBA, right? Now elicits more reaction than Caitlin Clark. When ESPN decided to broadcast a preseason WNBA game nationally, it was a significant change in priorities, and it was all due to Caitlin Clark. Guys, it should come as no surprise that no one chose to pick up this particular game. But I'm here to tell you that this is the first time in WNBA history that an exhibition game has ever been picked up. The first letter of this young lady's name begins with a C, and the last letter of this Thiefers exhibition game in Iowa wasn't just another warm-up. According to the New York Times, it was the first time in WNBA history that a preseason game was broadcast nationally on television. And ESPN recorded a workout by Caitlin Clark that would have averaged higher viewership. Then ESPN's move wasn't just a broadcast. It was a signal to the rest of the sports world, because even legends like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi received this treatment during their rookie seasons. I didn't think it was going to die. I mean, it's really scary, this kind of hype. I don't know if admitting it is the right word. But the Indiana Fever are by far the most popular team in the WNBA, and I'm glad that we are finally acting on it. I'm happy that they're acting on it because this news is beneficial not only for the Indiana Fever and their supporters, but also for the WNBA as a whole. Attendance at Fever games has more than tripled since Clark joined the league. Merchandise sales have skyrocketed, and sportsbooks are now reflecting that same excitement as they back the Indiana Fever as dark horse contenders to win the WNBA Finals. Just consider that a team that barely survived a year ago is now being taken seriously by, even though ESPN is gleefully profiting from the Caitlin Clark effect. Players throughout the league are raising difficult questions about why their games are still scheduled during inconvenient times, why some teams are not receiving the same amount of coverage even though they have won more games, and why success at the box office does not always translate into harmony in the locker room. Being drafted the same year as Clark, Angel Reese has publicly embraced the rivalry, which I believe is the reason why so many people are watching women's basketball. Having longer legacies has created a strange paradox where Claire is single-handedly increasing the league's profile, while the same spotlight is dividing the WNBA's core. It's not just about basketball anymore. Right now, basketball began with the national championship game. I've been dealing with this for 2 years, and I understand that there have likely been negative remarks made about me. But I'll take that because, look, where women's basketball is, people are talking about it. And you never would have thought that we would be talking about women's basketball. Pull up 2 games. We have celebrities attending sold-out arenas for just 1 game, and I'm thinking, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role. And I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and say, Yeah, the reason why we watch women's competition. And I want you all to understand that, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has obviously been here before. But there are so many great players in this league who have deserved this for a very long time. And fortunately, this isn't just a game. It's a marketing ploy. The media has been putting the two against one another since college, and now the WNBA is profiting from it. For example, it recently revealed that Clark's Fever will play Reese's Sky in Rivals Week, a brand new initiative meant to create drama and increase viewership. However, the business side doesn't lie. Clark's games are receiving primetime treatment for a reason. Some fans are here for the drama, while others are calling it performative, believing the WNBA is creating tension to drive numbers rather than focusing on league-wide equity. Darling versus fan favorite. The league is walking a tightrope by amplifying this rivalry. And the stakes couldn't be higher. Reason and Clark simply keep showing up without saying anything. She is aware of the noise, but she refuses to contribute. So the story goes on without her involvement. A Fever has more games than the New York Liberty, which is really weird, in my opinion. And it's just weird that they would say this about Kayla Clark, because whoever they are playing is going to get the views as well. So, for example, despite not reaching the same level as Caitlin Clark's games, the non-Caitlin Clark games are still growing in popularity, and people are constantly arguing about the context. In my attempt to explain this, I've tried to say that there is no with and without Caitlin Clark. It's not like it does this with Caitlin Clark. It does this without it's all related to Caitlin Clark. I mean, it's obvious that when a large number of new members join, largely due to Caitlin Clark, they become interested in other things and begin following other teams, which expands the platform's audience for new celebrities to increase, since the league claims it's obvious that they aim to spoof establishing their brand around a single NAMI occurrence of player one, and her name is Park Caitlin.